Hello and welcome to I24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from around the world. The final of the Women's Basketball World Cup is now set, a big name is back to the skiing slopes, and Argentine rugby reaches a major milestone. All that and more coming up, but we begin with football and a very big match coming up tonight in France. Paris Saint-Germain will host Monaco at the Parc des Princes. The Battle of the Billionaires was meant to be the clash that will determine the French championship, but both teams had a slow start to their domestic season. It looks especially bad for Monaco, who lost 4 of their opening 8 matches and are far closer to relegation at the moment than they are to the top, and they know a 5th loss tonight will not be seen as a major surprise. They finished second last season, but the transfers of Radamel Falcao and James Rodriguez left the team vulnerable, especially when it comes to the offensive side, as they scored only 7 goals so far. Things look better for the champions from the capital after the big win in midweek in the Champions League against Barcelona, and both managers spoke about this game ahead of tonight's match.
We must forget this good performance against Barcelona because that game was a group match of the Champions League. And there's an important game for the championship, and we must win and get these 3 points at home. I hope that the preparation and determination and concentration for the match against Monaco will be the same as we had for the Barcelona game, but I have no certainties until the match.
PSG had a good performance against Barcelona. It's a good team. There are many quality players. It is the same team as last year with the addition of the central defenders, including Brazilian international David Luiz.
A win is crucial for the champions if they want to stay close in the race, as Marseille just can't stop winning. Marcelo Bielsa's boys did it for the 7th straight time, this time a difficult 2-1 win in Caen. The winning goal coming deep in stoppage time by who else than Pierre-André Gignac, who scored his 9th goal of the season. Bordeaux, who also had a strong start to their season, lost some ground as they were defeated 1-0 in Reims, and Claude Makelele is in trouble as his team Bastien lost again, this time 2-0 at home against Lorient. As we have just mentioned, there's a big test coming up tonight for Laurent Blanc. Just a week ago, his job in PSG was hanging on the line after another disappointing draw. But as we all know, one game can change everything, and that game came in midweek as the team from the French capital shined against Barcelona and showed us all how good they can really be, even without their leading star. Lise Barnbaum and Michael Friedman with the story of the men who went from bottom to top in just 90 minutes.
Paris Saint-Germain has shown a lack of charisma, tempo, and unable to perform as a top club this season. Until the 3-2 win in the Champions League against Barcelona, Laurent Blanc has been under great scrutiny. But this unexpected victory against the Spanish Giants definitely changed everything.
Oh,
that one? I remember. I think you, the players too, and all the people who are at the stadium too, we also play this game to have nights like this.
He's been the head of PSG since June 2013. The former World Cup champion arrived in Paris with the goal of being a successful manager.
The staff and I will make every effort to try to meet the goals that we set, trying to be efficient, meet the goals, and to give a good show.
And the coach kept his promises. A French League championship, a League Cup championship, and 2 Super Cups in barely a year. He was seen as a hero in the eyes of everyone in 2013 as PSG won the championship. However, rumors have grown over the possible sacking, but Blanc always answered with a smile.
I have the bags ready. In this profession, you have to be ready all the time. Here they are, ready in the garage.
PSG beat the top team in Spain, Barcelona, who has been in great form. Barcelona is first in La Liga and have not conceded a goal since the beginning of the season. The French club is sitting in the 4th spot as Marseille leads the league. Publicly supported by President Nasser Al-Khalifi, Laurent Blanc hopes to continue the success from his debut season.
We hope so, even if I tell you the season started for some time. Indeed, it's our game, of course.
Star striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic and captain Thiago Silva showed that their team was capable of making magic despite the circumstances.
Without him, we saw the game we did tonight and are capable of doing great performances too. This is good for the group to have a powerful collective.
He won the tactical battle against his counterpart Luis Enrique. Blanc returned to the classic but effective 4-3-3 system that his team mastered perfectly. Their strength made it difficult for their opponent.
It doesn't surprise me. I knew their potential. This is a team that hopes to win the Champions League. They are the French champions. It doesn't surprise me.
After an elimination in the quarterfinals last year against Chelsea, PSG hopes to go further this year. Laurent Blanc has not yet reached the international elite that he showed as a player, but with the Barcelona victory, he finally joins the European elite coaches.
In other France-related news, many are now asking if one of the most glorious careers is coming to its end. 37-year-old Thierry Henry scored 7 goals for the New York Red Bulls this season, the last one coming in the final match against the Houston Dynamo. And the final match of the season, but that was not enough to take the team from the Big Apple to the playoffs, meaning the season is now over. According to reports, Henry will not sign again for the MLS team, and it is unclear if he will join a European side. And yet, don't be surprised if he does eventually, and yes, rumors of Arsenal have already surfaced. Now to Germany, where this is turning out to be a miserable season for the team, who is seen as the only one who can challenge Bayern Munich on the way to the title. Borussia Leverkusen suffered their 4th loss of the season in just 7 matches, visiting Hamburg, who was last in the Bundesliga ahead of the match, came out victorious. Pierre-Michel Asuga scored the winner for the visitors on 35 minutes. Dortmund may be doing great in the Champions League, but it's a different story on the domestic front, where they have not won in their last 4 matches. Now to Spain, where the champions suffered a blow on their hopes of a 2nd successive title. Valencia proved once again that they should be considered as one of the top teams this season, as they beat Atletico Madrid 3-1. The home team scored all 3 goals within the first 13 minutes. Barcelona beat Rayo Vallecano 2-0. Neymar and Messi scored within a minute of each other, and their defense is still doing an incredible job, as they have not conceded a goal so far in 7 matches in the Spanish league. 4 more matches coming up tonight, including the one at the Santiago Bernabeu, where Real Madrid will host Athletic Bilbao. Leo Messi had another good performance on the football pitch, but there was some bad news for him coming from the judicial field. A judge in Barcelona rejected his appeal in the tax fraud case, meaning Messi and his father will have to face trial. The two are accused of defrauding the authorities of more than 4 million euros. They are suspected of using companies in Belize and Uruguay to sell the rights to use Lionel Messi's image, thereby avoiding tax obligations in Spain. Both Messi and his father deny the charges, and Leo Messi has appealed against being named in the case, but the appeal was rejected, and he now will have to face trial. Very far from the Mestalla and the Bernabeu, another football match was held. The level was perhaps not as high, but it was just as important as those games, maybe even more. It was the final match of the Afghan Women's Football League, and though the score was 5-1 for the team from the capital Kabul against the team who traveled from the distant city of Herat, there were no losers and just one big winner, women's football. Even 13 years after the fall of the Taliban, gender segregation remains strong in Afghanistan, with many still supporting a tough stand on women's rights. Let's hope that the first season of the 4-team Afghan Women's League will help to break those barriers. Turning our attention now to Formula One, and there were very sad news coming today from the Japanese Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton's win was overshadowed by the serious injury suffered by Jules Bianchi. The 25-year-old French driver lost control on the slippery road on the same spot where recovery vehicles were attending the suburb of Adrian Sutil, who crashed on the previous lap. Bianchi was taken to hospital in serious condition. The incident brought the rain-affected race to an early conclusion. Spain against the United States was the final everyone expected to see in the Basketball World Cup last month. It didn't happen, as the Spaniards, who hosted the tournament, were eliminated in the quarterfinals. Away from home in the women's tournament in Turkey, it did happen. Spain was facing the host nation, and it was a very tight contest for 3 quarters. Spain held a 1-point lead at halftime. The game remained close in the 3rd quarter, but it finally changed in the final period as Spain went on a run to win the game 66-56 and secure their place in the final for the first time. Alba Torrens, who plays in Turkey for Galatasaray, was the leading scorer for the winning team with 28 points. The second semifinal featured the defending champions, the United States, against Australia. The Aussies are the only ones other than the Americans who won the title for the past 20 years, and they were able to stay relatively close through most of the match, but not more than that. The US led 42-30 at halftime and never really let Australia get much closer. Final score was 82-70 for the Americans, who are now one game short of a third successive title. Center Tina Charles was the leading scorer with 18 points and 9 rebounds. We've always known Argentina as a football powerhouse. The generation of Manu Ginóbili and company proved that they're just as big as basketball. Now they have mastered another sport. 2 years ago, the national team known as the Pumas joined the Tri-Nations, which became the Rugby Championship, in which they faced the mighty All Blacks, Wallabies and Springboks. And after 16 losses and 1 draw, Argentina now finally has a victory. They hosted Australia in Mendoza, and after the Wallabies took an early 14-0 lead, Argentina bounced back. The final whistle was a sign for massive celebration as Argentina wins 21-17 for its first Rugby Championship win, a major boost of confidence for the Pumas ahead of next year's World Cup. New Zealand guaranteed their Rugby Championship title last week. Their match in South Africa was only for the honors. Ahead of the match, 3 of their players went to visit a rugby school in Johannesburg. They were greeted by the South African students performing the traditional haka, so characteristic of the All Blacks. For the first time, they got a feel of what it's like to stand in front of it. Almost all of the 1,400 students in the school, built by UNICEF, came to see the visiting players. Some of them even had the chance to practice with the visiting Kiwis. Maybe distracted them a bit, as in the game itself, the All Blacks lost to the Springboks by 27-25. Tennis now into the undisputed king of the fans in Japan. We're speaking, of course, about Kei Nishikori. Less than a month after becoming the first Japanese player to reach a Grand Slam final, the world number 7 delighted his home fans by taking the Tokyo Open, his second title here in 3 years. Nishikori faced the hard-hitting Milos Raonic in the final. The Canadian was the runner-up in Tokyo the last year and the year before, and he would have to settle with second best once again. He gave the local hero a very hard fight. Nishikori won the first set in a tiebreak. Raonic took the second 6-4, but Japan's favorite took the decider 6-4 to secure his 7th career title. Kelly Slater has been on the king of the world of surfing for nearly 20 years, winning every possible title. But now there's a new guy in town hoping to give Slater the same treatment he gave his opponents throughout the years. Michael Friedman with a story.
At 20 years old, Gabriel Medina is on the way to become the first Brazilian world champion surfer. There are only 3 events left, and will be against the American legend, Kelly Slater, who is behind but holds 11 world titles.
I feel confidence. The pressure is not on me, it's on Kelly. He's older than me, he has more experience than me, and he's been in this position more than me.
Kelly Slater won his first title 2 decades ago in 1992. Gabriel Medina also won his first victory on the professional circuit, leaving his mark on the sport. But the motivation for the American remains intact to try to win his 12th title. Kelly Slater knows how to adapt and perform to his best, but he's also well aware of the danger posed to him by this new generation of talented and motivated surfers.
They have a big motivation, you know. When you're new, you want to win so bad, you want to beat everybody. You know, I don't have that same kind of instinct now. I mean, I want to win, but it's not like I don't go to sleep and wake up thinking about it, you know. And when I was 20, I did. I want to kill everyone. You know?
Medina is also very aggressive. He has had some criticism who accuse him of lacking fair play in water sometimes. The shy kid who struggled to speak to the media has now grown.
I had to travel. I had to meet people and do all these things, interviews, and yeah, now I'm a man.
This title fight between the king and the little prince Brazilian is certainly good for the surfing world, which has been hit by the economic crisis. And especially since Kelly Slater is determined to fight to the end and has only one motivation.
To not get second.
The biggest star in the world of women's ski is by far Lindsey Vonn, but she has hardly been on the slopes for the past 2 years due to injuries, which caused her to miss the Winter Olympics in Sochi. Now she's hoping the bad days are all over. Vonn is now back to training ahead of the World Cup, which will be held in Canada this coming December. The 29-year-old won 4 world titles between 2008 and 2012. But then she suffered from multiple injuries, which forced her to withdraw from almost every major event for the past 2 years. She does not set any goals just yet. She's just happy to be back.
Yeah, it feels good so far. Today is only my third day, but already I have a good feeling. It's obviously just free skiing and a little bit of gates, but it's fun and I'm very happy to be back on snow. I've been working on technique and doing slow drills, nothing fast, just taking it slow and doing a couple of drills in the gates, but yeah, I won't do speed training for a few more days still.
We started the show with football and we will also finish with it, but not exactly what you think. There's a ball, it is kicked, but everything else is quite different than what you would expect. The official name of this new sport is foot golf. Basically, it incorporates the aspects of these two sports. Instead of hitting the ball with a golf club, it is being kicked towards the hole, which is obviously much bigger than what we see in golf. The first championship in the sport is now taking place in France. There's even a French Foot Golf Federation, and the president is former football player Sylvain Viltord. Interest in the game has been constantly growing as it now has nearly 1,000 participants. Will we see it as an Olympic sport in Tokyo 2020? Time will tell. And that's it for this show. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.